Hello?
What's up?
We are live already. How we doing?
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Good. How are you, man?
had a little bit of a jank setup there, if you will. Still figuring a lot of this out. I think I've already managed to minimize us, so... Alright. So, put this together a little bit last second. Uh, this is something that we've been planning on doing for a little bit. Well, at least I think we floated the idea a little bit.
Yeah.
While back, and then kind of just nothing happened for a while, but we're here now.
Hit you up. Hit you up. Here we are.
Really, it's just been the schedules, just getting the mid-afternoon slot, and then you're like, okay, we got the, evening open tonight, so it's like better time than normal, so put together this little pod thing, I guess. I'll try to, I don't know if you have the stream up, I'll try to, actually, I don't want to share it because it may mess
I
up
can see it.
Okay,
I can see it. I can at least see the chat,
Yeah. So, put something together a little bit last second. But anyways, everybody, this is Sammy D.
Yeah.
Are you a Sam?
Right. Sammy D, or you can call me Sam, sure.
I am a Sam myself, so...
No way! And we have the exact same 3D printed... Yeah. Like, I got the same... Yeah. My friend gave me this, so we can both go.
That's twinsies. That's a shout out to Princess Brad in the chat. That was a...
And Johnny Chang.
Birthday gift, I think. Around this year last time, actually. So,
nice.
Had it in the background for a month or so, or not, a year or so now. Alright, let's get this off. Start background. Alright, so I think, by the way, I have a really bad habit of accidentally closing the Discord call and everything, but okay. I think we're good now. I'm not the best with these configurations, I suppose.
It's tough. It's tough.
I think the important thing is just going to be, content of the conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got the Sam and Sam Attorney's Office. Going to be starting our own little show, I guess. Nah. But, anyways, for those of you that don't know, this is Sammy D. Also goes by Kart Life. I think the channel is called Kart Life.
It's Kart Life, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, I got the personality, Sammy D.
Yep.
So, personally speaking, I've been a little bit of a fan on the side for a little bit now. Not always into the Mario Kart Tour content, but really pretty wide array of videos over on his channel. Personally, the ones that I liked the most were, well, the ones that really kind of got me over to taking a look at his stuff was just the soundtrack reactions to the Booster Course Pass Waves. We can talk about those in a little, I would say. I would like to kind of do like a little bit of an exercise with the chat on that one, because I'm sure everybody has, their opinions on their favorite songs from the Booster Pass and all of that, but you've got a little bit of a music background, right?
Yeah, I'm a drummer. I played piano when I was a kid. I'm a drummer.
I don't want to cut you off. Also a drummer.
Oh my God, we are brothers from another mother.
Yeah. But probably not as serious as you, but time to time.
I have been lucky to say I have been a professional drummer, so that's been good.
Yeah, I'm a rookie drummer myself, so
nice. But drummer, graphic designer, those have been like my careers. But like the doing a YouTube channel was purely out of. I mean, we can get into the story of it or whatever if you want, but just when Mario Kart Tour was released. So I've played Mario Kart since '92, since the launch of the first game. I was born in '81, so I literally grew up with the original Nintendo, then the SNES, the entire thing. I have played front to back every Mario Kart game on every console that has ever existed. So super fan.
What was your first SMK? I'm curious.
It was, and just to give you a little bit of you can see some of these artifacts in another one of my videos, some of my childhood mementos. But I actually have a letter. I'll just to give a little bragging rights to start off. A letter from Nintendo dated January 20th, 1995. Thank you for writing and sending your letter. The Super Mario Kart artwork was very impressive. From your list of top racers in the game, it appears Toad is your favorite. To answer one of your questions, we intentionally put a jump bar in the grass hidden in Mario Circuit 2. That's awesome you found it. We really enjoy putting little secrets in our games for curious players to find. And yes, the red shell is acting properly when it hovers and circles around another racer. So this is before the internet,
This is
legit,
before I
like,
was born. A year.
yeah,
This
I
is
mean, it
crazy
dates
to
me.
me.
I'm probably the oldest, like, Mario Kart YouTuber there is. I got the
YouTuber
baby face,
maybe. YouTuber
maybe, yeah.
maybe.
But like, writing them letters about like the shortcuts and tips you find in the original game, and then like the Nintendo Power era, like getting this letter, like I will never forget this, getting this in the
Yeah.
mail. Anyway,
That's really
so
cool.
but yeah, my friends and I played Super Mario Kart every single day after school. Just really mastered the game at age like 11. I mean,
Hmm.
that's all there is to it. And then like 64 was just like, I mean, imagine being that obsessed with Mario Kart and then they drop Mario Kart 64. It was just,
Yeah.
and then Super Mario 64 is coming out, and it's just, oh my god.
Explosion into the 3D era and all of
Yeah,
that.
so so Kart 64 is like my
Yeah.
part,
I think I
and
remember you saying that in one of your
all my
videos.
favorite tracks. I mean, just incredible tracks. But then played all of them. So Mario Kart Tour, you probably remember it was like rumored for like or not rumored, but it was in development for like a couple years, and they kept
Yeah.
delaying it. And I was just like Google searching like Mario Kart Tour news. What is this game gonna be? Like, what is it gonna be?
There's a lot of
Uh,
questions from our end also. It's like, it's a
yeah,
phone game. Is it going to be any good? Because
yeah,
how
of
exactly is
course.
it, like, how's it going to work? Like, do you
How's it gonna
press a
work?
button to accelerate? How are we
And
going to
like,
drift?
surely you can't be vertical. Like, give me a break. There's no way that's gonna work. How are you gonna accelerate
Yeah.
exactly? And so I came in just like definitely very hyped, but just as skeptical as anyone. Um, I mean, long story short, I just think that I'm coming from the perspective of now 4 years later. I have played Mario Kart Tour every day for 2 to 3 hours for 4 years straight. I mean, that is,
That's
I have
insanity.
never played a Mario Kart game for that long.
Hmm.
I mean, for that steady, steady length of time. And I'm as surprised as anyone that it you have to cross a learning curve, like obviously. But I think every Mario Kart game you have to cross a learning
Yeah.
curve. Any good game, and I think a lot of people. Well, first of all, there was the horrible launch of the game in terms of its reputation for its pay-to-win stuff and the
I,
microtransactions.
I
So
want to
that's a
circle.
whole conversation there.
I want to circle back to that in a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll talk about that.
I do have a little bit of a question. I kind of want to wrap around to like your history of the
Yeah,
series and all of that.
yeah.
Did you
But
have
just
like
like
any periods of breaks like between the games and all that kind of stuff? Did you have like
no,
a more inactive period, or just tour was
no,
like the one that really pushed you to get into all of
no.
this more
I've
seriously?
never been inactive. I mean, I will say I've never been involved in like competitive,
Yeah.
like ever. So that's why like what you're doing is really cool because it keeps me up to speed with like what's even going on in the competitive scene. I mean, I play with my friends back in '64 and GameCube, and I'll I play online with Mario Kart Wii and played online with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart 8 when it was originally out. Um, but no, I mean, I may have dipped out of certain other games, like certain Zeldas I haven't played or whatever. But Mario, whenever a Mario Kart game came out, that release date, I played it and I completed it. Like I'm just a
Yeah.
super, super fan. So with Tour, I was like, you know what? I know that this is launching with a weird stigma around it already, and I am really skeptical about the auto acceleration and the vertical. But the type of person I am and the type of fan I am, I love Mario Kart so much that I want to thoroughly see what they are doing with this game. I want
Yeah.
to master the game, give it a fair chance. I don't even care that you have to buy Mario for $20. I'm gonna freaking buy Mario for $20 because you just made a Mario Kart game that is, according to you guys, going to have new content every 2 weeks in perpetuity for as long. And we're 4 years later, and they're still going. And there's going to be at least another year, if not multiple more years. I can't. It's almost like the Mario Kart of my dreams, honestly, because you have to realize that when this game came out, we'd still been playing Mario Kart 8 for like 6 years
Yeah.
already, and
Yeah.
and obviously they've revitalized the game completely, and the booster course pass is incredible, and I think it's all tied to Mario Kart Tour, and we this is what we always talk about. But I was just tired of that game. I was ready for the next one. And I crossed the learning curve. I realized, wow, actually, this is designed pretty freaking well. Like the play controls are way better than I thought. Once you master them, I mean, I don't have any issues. I got good, and I
Hmm.
tapped into the community of people who are also getting good, and the community has been absolutely incredible. And the strategy, man. Once you started to realize, oh my gosh, you never again are you going to just select your favorite driver and that's it. Like
Yeah.
every other Mario Kart game, I just picked Toad and I played Toad for like 2 years. In this game, you have to choose different drivers. You have to choose different carts and different gliders. You have to strategize. You have to manage your resources. It's basically an RPG. And I
Yeah.
was like, holy crap, this is like the Mario Kart game I never knew I wanted. And so yes, there's the bad stigma of the microtransactions, but you think about it and like, hey, Gold Pass costs $5 a month for 1 year. That's literally $60, the price of one Switch game. I'm going to play this the equivalent of one Switch game, so of course I'm going to do
More than
Gold
that.
Pass.
Much
I have
more
no
than that.
problem with supporting the devs and the artists behind the game. I mean, like, and so I'm a very I have a lot of respect for the people who pay and support because I want the game to keep thriving, keep going. And once we realize that there are ways around the pay to win. Okay, yeah, there's a pay to win tier, but nah, dog. If you manage your resources, you can have whatever level of success you want because the meta and the strategy of the game is so complex. And so I'm just a huge fan, man. And I see all the issues. I mean, let's get into it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I know.
I'd like to bring up how I got back into MK Tour,
Yeah.
actually, kind of my experience with it. So, of course, I came into it being the, more traditional, stereotypical, competitive online player and all that. So for us, there was some
Yeah.
skepticism, but I would say even more so than just like the
Okay.
average player and all that, because it's like, how are they going to make a game that is better than console game that you can hold with a controller and all
Sure.
that? There's going to be these consoles games where we're used to like these very intricate driving mechanics and all that,
Of course,
and
yeah.
there's a lot of questions and all that stuff. And when
Hey,
it
turn
came
up your
out,
volume. Chat says, by the way, a little bit.
yeah,
Just so you know, just in case in case it's coming up.
I did see it. I just wasn't certain if I
Oh,
could do it at all.
No,
I
you're
could hold
good.
my
You're
mic a
good.
little bit closer, but
That's good. Carry on.
but
But
anyway,
yeah, I totally agree.
if I can't be heard at all, please let me know. But
No, you're good.
anyway, I think what happened is, well, first of all, there's like that weird like test period, right?
Yeah,
that
the
happened in
beta.
like May or something like that. And I remember not everybody got it. My friend San, happy birthday by the way to San. He got like the test period and all that kind of stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
this
the
is
beta.
BS. How'd you get it? I didn't get it.
I wanted to say that.
Yeah, it came out and everybody's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's
for sure.
slower. Not sure what to do here. Then it comes out in September, I want to say, 2019.
Yep.
I pick it up because I am a Mario Kart fan. I have to try
Yep.
it, see it for myself.
Yep.
And I played through all the cups, and immediately my first impression was just, I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever played, but at the same time, it left a lot to be desired. And a lot of it had to just do, I think, with the game having a slow start. And I played the second tour, I believe that was the original Tokyo tour with Tokyo Blur.
Yep.
And then the third one came out, which I believe was the exciting one for me because I think it brought in
Halloween?
Luigi's
Yep.
Mansion, Ghost Valley 1. I think that's the first time that they had brought back, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the first time they brought back like a retro track that had never come back before at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And maybe Waluigi Pinball also. I'm not entirely certain.
Mhm.
That may have been later.
That sounds right. That's right.
I don't know if it was completely inaccurate or not. But I played that one.
I think
And that
pinball
was-
came in Tokyo maybe, but
Okay. I know Neo Bowser City came in Tokyo, I want to say. That
yeah,
was
they're
one of the
rolling out
first-
the initial
yeah.
wave of tracks
Yeah.
over a few tours.
I was like thinking like, okay, I'm not sure if like all my favorite courses are in this one, etc. But
Yeah.
anyway, I got bored of it and I stopped playing. And it wasn't until later in around Christmas of 2020 I upgraded my phone and like the original game had ran slow, but Wi-Fi came out, etc. I decided, okay, new phone, I'm going to download this game again and just play it for a few minutes, see how it goes. And by this time, there were a ton of new changes, notably the tokens, the green tokens, and those kind of changed my perspective on the game, actually. Because suddenly, I was able to just get high ends, because back then they used to just have like stuff in the shop that you could buy with the tokens every tour
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And
Yep.
I think also coincidentally, it was the same tour that had both Waluigi Pinball and Airship Fortress, which are
Yeah.
two of my favorite courses of all time.
Two of the
And
best.
played it, and I was just like, huh, I'm starting to get scores in the 10,000s. I don't know what happened, and I realized that as I was starting to get stuff, I started getting these tier 3 gliders, and the combos just didn't have to end. And I was like, hold up a second.
Combo.
Hold up a second. Yeah. And it started becoming a little bit more addicting, because at first, when I started playing this game, I was just like, okay, it's kind of boring. You get points. The objective isn't necessarily to get first or anything. But then as, we keep going, you start treating it almost like a time trial in a sense, where like, you restart and all that. I think that's another mechanic that they added later. You couldn't restart initially, I want to say. But this time you could just like in the middle of a race, boop, restart. And
Yep.
at this time, like the quality of life enhancements, just like a year into the game, were so significant that I started like kind of thinking like, wow, I actually kind of want to get on every day. I think they started doing like the daily login bonus shortly after this also. And suddenly it started coming together, and I kind of saw it as like a different form of time trialing in a sense, where you're resetting your runs, going for your best records and all of that.
You're beating yourself. You're trying to beat yourself.
Exactly, and that was like the fulfillment that I got from the old games before I started playing
endless
online.
replay value.
Yeah,
in that sense.
And I hit the realization that like this single player is the best single player I think we've had in the series, and everybody gave up on this game really quickly. So I kind of got a little bit more curious. I've never really dabbled into pay to win, or even the gold pass at this point. I did get a trial once, but it was intriguing and stuff, so I started looking more into the game, because it didn't really speak to me as something I was going to hop online and play competitively. But this single player mode that you excel in, tier 99 I want to say now, from what I remember. I mean,
if you've been playing day one, like you're going to be at the very top at this point. But I that's been my goal, just like always try the best I can without whaling, as they call it, where you're buying rubies every single week, buying every pack. I never have done that. I've done gold pass with a few extra, if it's my birthday, I'll buy a pack of something or whatever,
I also remember that Diddy Kong pack on the first week also.
Oh yeah, there were so many
on Twitter. Yeah.
And like as we were fans so quick, and we were like, oh god, we gotta like stick up for this game, and it was so hard because
the advertising is bad too, because like you aren't buying the Diddy Kong pack for Diddy Kong, but that's like what you're buying it for the rubies. Yeah. But everybody's like, oh, you have to pay $40 for a character, like not the publicity that you want, I would say, to start off. So definitely a little bit of an uphill battle there.
These microtransactions in games, I mean, even Pokemon Go or whatever, they're always more than you think they should be. But they're there because people who have tons of money and love games, they will pay that. But it's a whole thing.
So, quick question and all that. It's kind of aside from the general Mario Kart Tour stuff. But I am curious, as somebody who's played the series in full.
Yeah.
Favorite course, top 5 maybe? What do you got?
Oh gosh, I mean it's. I'll be totally honest with you. Like it's a lot of I don't want to say nostalgia, but it's like
it's all MK64 tracks, isn't it?
Well, no, just put it this way. Like I'm not trying to sound like an old man, like back in my old day, but I was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like. If you lived when Super Mario 64 came out, you're gonna say Mario 64 is like the best Mario game ever because it was so revolutionary at the time in that context.
Yeah.
And so like in the context of the time, like all things being equal on a relative scale, my favorite track is N64 Koopa Beach because of the shortcut, not only the shortcut through the mountain, because think about it, original game, there were a couple shortcuts, but not like this, where you have to hit a jump, get into a tunnel, and you're a third of the way across the course. But so perfectly designed a track that if someone gets the shortcut, other player can take this really long, really crazy ramp and get a blue shell specifically off that long other ramp. and it's timed perfectly where that player can actually use that blue shell and then catch up. I mean, it was just beautiful track design.
Was that a guaranteed
Um,
blue? I don't
yes,
remember. I remember the balloon on Luigi Raceway for
it
the
was guaranteed blue,
guaranteed.
but it was so narrow that
Yeah,
like you had to really be good to either drift up the whole thing or just get a nice straight. And when
you had to clear the
anyways,
rock also. I
clear the
believe.
rock,
Yeah.
get a good acceleration. It was so brilliant how like Yoshi had a higher jump, so he could clear the shortcut really easily. So I think of that one. I mean, just off the top of my head, golly, I mean, greatest tracks ever. I mean, back to the original SNES. I have the same feeling about Ghost Valley. I guess it was the one with the long plank where you could use the mushroom
Oh,
or a
into the
feather to
course.
create.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just
The
that at the
shortcut.
time, that was
Yeah.
such a big deal. And so, like, my friends and I would literally just race that track like hundreds of times. It's just the replay value. But then later, I mean, I don't know. I'm just what things that are coming to my head, like Thwomp Ruins, Airship Fortress, Baby Park, as hilarious and whatever
All
and
right.
ironic as that is at this
It's been a
point.
nice interview, Sammy D.
No. I mean, I'm not gonna choose that track. I mean, it
I'm
come to
messing with
Mario
you.
Kart Tour, and I was actually saying it should come to Tour because it would be hilarious to see how it works. But
It
yeah,
was
no
different
one
in
really.
Double Dash. I think
It was different in Double Dash.
I think everybody's who's played like all the games like it's king in
Exactly.
Double Dash compared to the others. Nothing else
Oh
can really
yeah,
compare.
absolutely.
It's just the Bowser
Um,
shells. Let's be realistic here. I guess they're
yeah,
in
but I mean,
tour technically, but they aren't really
yeah,
going over the middle.
they don't
Like,
bounce. They
yeah,
don't bounce.
yeah,
But no, I mean, a lot of them are from 64. I mean, I think like DK's Jungle Parkway and like the 64 Rainbow Road and
yeah.
of course Wario Stadium, of course, just because of the crazy shortcuts over the wall. Because
Okay,
back in the
old
day
Mario
when you could
Stadium. Yeah,
yeah, when you could jump, when you can jump and get over things, and that there was no invisible walls. A lot, as much as I love every single Mario Kart game, and I could make the argument for any of them, like Mario Kart 8, like definitely Mario Kart 8, 8 Deluxe is by far, obviously, in a lot of ways, the best game. It's just so beautiful and everything, and it's still got an amazing fan base. But once they started doing all these invisible walls, and you
yeah.
can't do a lot to like break the track or go back in the day when you could just hop over
I
over
think
walls. I mean, that was
MK8's
just
truly the only one that's really been that
lost
restrictive and all of
down,
that.
lost down.
Like
Yeah,
even
it just feels
seven,
controlled.
the one right before, like you had shortcuts
Yeah,
like on Neo Bowser City. You could just glide off the final ramp and land like on the platform, like
yeah.
underneath like the track above, and then like launch yourself up there and all these cool stuff, all this cool stuff like that. There's other stuff also,
Oh
but
yeah, for sure,
it's really
for
just
sure.
MK8. I think. Yeah, I mean, a lot of good, but you know, I
Yeah,
think a lot of
but
people
I mean,
fell in love with MK over the unrestricted shortcuts of the old
yeah,
games.
yeah, man. I mean, gosh, there's so many. I don't know. I've never really sat down and made like a ranked list.
Yeah,
Um,
that's all I do.
um, that's awesome.
List after
But I
list.
mean, I will just to give a plug for Tour. I mean, it was pretty cool for us as Tour fans. Probably the peak of Mario Kart Tour fandom was when Ninja Hideaway was teased. It was like 2 months ahead of the track release, and it was teased in just an image, and we didn't know what the tour was or what the track was. And by the time it was revealed, and it was the most epic, like Japanese like dojo, like with Wario crap all over, but then Wario's nowhere to be found, and then it's got these routes. I mean, it's just such a cool track, and like us Mario Kart Tour players were like instant classic, instant all-time track. And then like it was so cool when it came to Deluxe to see that whole other fan base discover it for the first time, because we felt like our baby was like getting
Yeah,
famous or something, like that kind of
it's
thing.
like your Nitro track in a sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then the others have been great too. I mean, the cities have been cool. But yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of memories to those tracks from the 64 era.
yeah, for sure. I think Ninja Hideaway was definitely uh, I would say it's probably my favorite of the tour Nitro
The
courses,
Nitro.
if you will. I'm
Yeah.
counting those like differently than the cities.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's too
Yeah,
bad with the cities because the argument that like the Booster Course Pass is like preserving the Mario Kart Tour content forever or whatever in case whenever the game I don't even know the whole idea of like when this game is ending or dying. It's such a mind job. Like I don't
Yeah,
even know how they're going to ever end
I
this.
wanted to ask you about that kind of
I
because
mean,
it
it's
sounds
what
like
everyone's
we're
talking about right now.
yeah, it sounds like the data miners don't have anything
They don't have
like
anything for
past the
new
fourth year.
tracks.
Yeah.
They don't have anything for new tracks.
Okay.
Yeah. And they've dumped so many tracks the last year. We went through this whole COVID phase where we were not getting any new tracks, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, oh god, like the only new track was like a RT of something that already existed, or like another Choco Island, and we're like, oh my god, so many Choco Islands.
Was it just
Uh,
because
I
the
think it's
people
because of
like
COVID.
yeah,
I think
like
it's
they
because of
couldn't
the
get to the
pandemic.
they had to recycle content and
But
all that.
I also think that at some point, I don't think the Booster Course Pass personally was planned until like pretty close to when it released. Like
I think
I
you're
think that
right.
it,
I think you're
yeah,
entirely right because
I think they realized we can. They're like someone was in there and was like, oh my gosh, we could use the tour tracks and make more DLC and let's fast track it now.
yeah,
You
and
know.
everybody on Twitter, every direct started complaining about, Mario Kart 9. Obviously,
Mhm.
you can make the argument that it is Tour. I don't know if you play Pokemon at all. My personal argument is that Tour is like Legends Arceus, which is just like
Right.
a spin-off that's practically main series, but like not in like the chronological sense. I don't know
It's
if that's
hard
a
to
fair
define.
analogy. It is
Yeah,
hard
it's a
to
good
define
one.
because like
It's hard to define.
it's like I mean, what's going to happen with the retro tracks in the future? Are we going to get tour retros? Like, is Squeaky Clean Sprint going to be involved in that? Like, what's going
I
on?
know, and then they
What
made it
retros
worse.
count? Like, is Yoshi?
Absolutely.
Did Yoshi Desert come back already? Who knows? So,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a mess, and whatever like bias you bring into that argument, you're gonna stick to that bias. It's really annoying, especially when Nintendo like took the tour prefix off of the Nitros. It's
yeah,
like, look, you guys made this for tour. Like, let's just call it what it is. It's not a diss to Mario Kart 8 fans.
yeah.
Okay, we don't have to get this so personal.
We all know
Can we just,
it's tour content. Like
yeah, can we
Sky
just
High
like call
Sunday,
it what?
Squeaky Clean Sprint, Yoshi's out. We know it's yours. We know it's
Yeah,
yours.
Mario Kart 8's been done for 10 years, like or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah, but what? Anyway, I don't know where we left off
we
there,
were we
but
were- we were talking about just like the booster pass and like are these like
oh, the end
the
of
planning.
tour, yeah,
Yeah.
and no one knows what's going to happen right now. There's no the data miners, man. They've crushed it with Mario Kart Tour. I mean, they have. It's pretty amazing
They
what
got
they've
fooled
done.
recently, did they not? Like
On
they
what?
on exactly like the order of things because I remember
Oh yeah,
Moonview Highway, but like mostly everything's lined up. I think like
yeah, I mean,
Lakeside
like
Park was supposed to come earlier or something, but
yeah, the way they're using like these ID gaps to like it's only a loose way to see like what tracks are kind of going to be coming soon, you know. And so
yeah.
from then it's just kind of guesswork. But they've been in the right ballpark a lot. But anyway, I don't know what's going to happen. It all depends on at the end of the day, are they still making money from tour? And Nintendo is famously,
Yeah.
untransparent about that. So there's some number where if they keep making it, they're going to probably keep doing content for tour. But a lot of people think right now they're going to go into what fans are calling like loop theory, which is there's going to loop tour themes with. But they have so many tracks now. Over the past 2 years, first of all, they dumped way more tracks than could fit in the Booster Course Pass. And my initial
Yeah.
theory of
I've made videos about that before, just like
yeah, we
what is
both
going on
have.
what is going on here.
We both have, and it's why I still think they will do a second Booster Course Pass because to me,
Really.
you might as well. I mean,
I just
the
don't know
next
how they're going to reach
console-
the highs in a sense because it feels like so deliberately designed to like have certain certain courses like in certain spots and all of that. It's
like they're leaving like the lower tier ones.
like if you
kind of
do
fill out.
like if you do Wii Rainbow Road where it's supposed to be,
Right.
how do you match that? Because you're out of new retro Rainbow Roads like down the
well,
line.
Okay, in my dream scenario, there's still going to be a tour Rainbow Road, but that's a
Yeah.
whole other story. I mean, the big question is, are they going to stop development on new tracks? Like, are the cities done forever? They probably are. We probably are at the end of the cities
They've
because
done a lot, so it's hard
But
to
if
ask
they
for more in that
if
regard.
they're meeting right now, and they're saying, okay, Booster Course Pass was a success. We hired DNA or Bandai whoever on a contract to make the tracks that they made. We've got all these assets. We can keep doing retros, but if we did 4 more waves or 3 more waves or whatever, could we farm out a few more city tracks? Could we farm out a couple more nitros that we've been working on? It could happen. That's the best case scenario in my mind.
Are you out on RMX courses potentially?
I love RMX because they never
Hmm.
used them. We've talked
Yeah.
about this too. I
I mean,
mean,
that was
like,
my fault. It's like you got all the SMK tracks. They could be like the new cities, like if you were to extend them
it
at
could be. I
all.
mean, they're not as good. You know, if
Yeah.
you put all of them in, then it gets complicated because you've already released Choco Islands and
Yeah.
whatever.
Or you
But
got
I
like
say at
merge
least
those, etc. Yeah.
I would not say they would be the new cities, but you can fill a couple slots with a couple of them.
Yeah.
I would say. But anyway, like no one really knows what's going to happen, which is kind of it's got everyone in this mood. I don't know if y'all are feeling this way with the booster course pass ending, where it's like it's kind of hard to imagine that January 1st, 2024, there's just not going to be any more Mario Kart content. Like,
Yeah.
and we're still like 2 years away from a new console. It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
We'll have to
And so
see on that. I
a
mean,
lot of people feel like Tour could be the future of Mario Kart. It's like you've released so many tracks for 8 Deluxe now. What does the next console game even look like? I don't know what they're going to do because
yeah.
they've made it very hard to top what they've done with both of these games.
I hate to advertise it like I've got like a finished video right now on this exact discussion.
Oh,
It's just
nice.
like the premise. It's just like, what do you do? I guess a little bit of a
You do.
spoiler. I do think that you can start with 48 again, but like you have to do DLC now. Like you can't go
Yeah.
back because otherwise it's just going to pale in comparison. It's going to
Yeah.
like this has to be the new standard at this point. And
Yeah.
the thing is also is like if they want to run from that and just keep adding to deluxe, they're making the standard eventually even harder. So at that point, it's just like, all right, you're bringing back everything. So yeah, Smash Ultimate's also in this whole conversation as well.
Yeah, it's an analog kind of.
They're just too much. So
Yeah.
it is really curious. I feel like I had so much to say, but like we just, I mean, I love it.
We've
We're, like,
we got all
sidetracking.
over the place. We
I
can
mean-
dial it back. We can dial it back to the back a few steps. We're getting all over the place, but it's an interesting time right now with the booster
Yeah.
course pass about to end, with the tour data mining being where it's at. It's got us tour fans feeling pretty sentimental because it's like, man, like if if they do stop with the new content, that's a shame. And what a great game this has been. Like if I could just go back to kind of like defending the game for a second,
Yeah, go
and this
ahead.
does lead into what they do next, because like to me, like the scoring thing, that changed the game. Like, and I will just make a major caveat here by saying all respect to the Mario Kart 8 player community, because while I am a little bit tired of playing those tracks for however many years, I love that there's still a robust global, competitive scene for the game, and with time trialing or whatever. I mean, you know a lot more about this than I do. That's why I dig your channel, because you're keeping me up to date with that whole world. But the idea of scoring and like always being able to try to the endless replay value of that for single player, like you said,
Yeah.
multiplayer. It's Tour has had a big competitive scene. There's been World Cups. Some of my mods and friends have been world champions.
Same with me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
so
think we
that's
got one
cool.
in the chat right now. Actually,
That's awesome.
I think Samuel was involved in that. I don't remember another Sam, by the way.
That's awesome.
Different.
so, like-
the cool thing about Tours World Cups is like there's been a different champion every time too. Like there's
Yeah,
already more Tour champions than like 8D champions.
That's
Because
cool.
8D's just been all Japan and like France 1 year. So you love to see the variety for sure. It's like a rare thing that it has to happen naturally. You can't force it because the point of the World Cup is what country is the best. You can't like put on limitations. I guess that has happened with Mario Kart Wii. USA is just so overpowered that they split them into like multiple units and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it was cool
I mean-
watching Tour competitive also, just because like the hard item felt like so interesting. It was like unique.
Yeah, the whole meta is
in that
different,
regard.
which is what's
Yeah.
great about it. Smaller carts, different items. With single player, you're going for all these, plus skills like coin box, because you're getting the best action counts, because it's all about action count.
Yeah.
I just love all the metrics for single player. I love that the multiplayer people have found their way to to still have a satisfying multiplayer or online experience. Even though you're playing on your phone, so there's always going to be connectivity issues more than a console game, and so most average Mario Kart players kind of hate multiplayer just because of how laggy or whatever unfair. You got to have like a good internet or whatever to like actually get your grade up. And they could have done a lot more with multiplayer. They have it built into every tour now. I'm sure they have pipes now in multiplayer. Where the more you play multiplayer, you get to just yank a bunch
Yeah,
of pipes.
I love
Since
that.
they ended the gotcha, and by the way, ending the gotcha. I mean, we haven't even talked about that. Like the number one
I don't know what to
criticism
say
of
about it. I don't know. Like
we were all stunned. I mean,
it's crazy to me because like I like like look, I won't lie. I've made fun of gotcha in my time,
yeah,
but
dude, it's
I almost kind of miss it as somebody that
a
doesn't
lot of
have
players
everything.
miss it.
That's
A
somebody
lot
that
of
like
people miss it.
still has a lot of missing stuff. I'm almost glad, by the way, that like I'll have a chance to like catch up on like some of these high ends and all this kind of stuff. But like, I felt
It's
like the
better.
pipes were better value than what we have in the shops right now. You just get to actually
That's a
choose.
complicated question
Or at
for
least
another
like
time. But
at least
yeah,
like at my like stage of like
yeah,
the game where like I don't have like a ton of new stuff, right? Like where
yeah.
every gold pot, like every you know cycle
Well,
with like 9 high ends, I feel like I'm going to get like 5 or 6 new if I empty one
so
entirely.
yeah, here's the numbers on that though. At the end of the day, it's better for you this way. It's better for you because there's no risk that you're going to end up spending actual money because you didn't get the thing you want, and that at the end of the day,
Yeah,
when there are kids playing a game, is a very very good thing. Um,
yeah,
but you can, if you do the numbers now, you can get 30 multiplayer single pulls. You can get, if you're Gold Pass, which again, $5 a month, price of a Switch game for 1 year, you're getting like 70 something pulls in a tour. There's no way that with rubies and the previous gotcha system you would be pulling 70 plus pipes a tour. You just couldn't afford it.
yeah,
So you're actually getting more stuff now. It's better value now, like actual numbers. It doesn't feel as exciting though, because that gotcha, that's
yeah.
that's how they get you with that what's going to happen. And a lot of people are sad it's gone just because a lot of the fun is gone from that. But I would, at the end of the day, I'd rather just get what I want. It gives the player more control over their resources to like
Yeah,
strategize and be smart.
I
So
feel
that's a good
that.
thing. But
Hmm.
I do miss it.
Maybe I'm just
Um,
competitive RNG watcher, so
it's
obviously very exciting to me.
no, it was great, man. The pipe
The
pulls in this game.
adrenaline
I
rush when you
mean,
see a gold and then the star appears is like, oh, it's a new character.
oh
Not
yeah,
new,
and there's a
not
big
new
part of
necessarily,
like
but
big part of all of our YouTube content was like the pipe pulls, and like
yeah,
whenever it was like my birthday, we're draining a pipe and seeing what happens and all that
just
stuff.
doesn't hit the same when you win like 5 like point boost tickets.
No, it doesn't
Yeah,
hit the same. It doesn't hit the same, but it does appeal to me of like, okay, I want to like optimize everything. And like if I can have more control over all these resources, that's awesome.
yeah,
But it is interesting they took it away. I mean, I guess it speaks to like the laws for gotcha loot boxes around the world. Nintendo's trying to get ahead of that and shut this down so they can let the game keep going. But it is cool to see that since the Booster Course Pass, um, people like you, checking back in with it, maybe because of the Booster Course Pass or the Nitro tracks and how they've staggered them so that
yeah.
some tracks come out in 8 first, some tour first, trying to bring people over. And then, yeah, there's no gotcha anymore. The number one thing people made fun of is gone. So, but if you want to start out and you're watching this, man, it's a cool game because you can build your own sandbox kind
I
of
do have a
meta
question for
however you
you in that
want.
regard, actually.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, getting to tier 99, is it something that is catch upable, or is it
Um,
like if you started late and there's a big gap, like you're going to kind of like be behind for an excessive amount of time?
let's
Personally, as
see.
somebody that took a break for about a year and somebody who hasn't gotten into the gold pass, I'm stagnating around the mid-level 50s right now. And of course, I'm not like as like serious of a player as you are. I'm mainly focused on 8D, but like it's something that's like if I have a break at work, I'll play a course or something or do like a
Yeah.
daily and all that kind of stuff. I have
Yeah.
tried unranked cups before. Don't get me wrong, but like
Yeah.
I think the big part is just like understanding when you should go in, when you should go all in, use like some level up
Yeah.
tickets, etc., to maximize when you're going to win and when you don't, etc.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to the question you just asked. I would say generally the mid 50s are like that's where it kind of gets real,
Yeah.
kind of where if you really want to start grinding a little more. And there's a certain point for every player you realize, oh wow, I have to play these tracks more than I thought I was going to get the scores. I got to grind. That means go through the first item set. If I didn't get a coin frenzy, reset
Yeah.
and keep going. You
Could
get the
never.
perfect run,
Could never.
and then be prepared for anything that could happen by mastering your lines, so that no matter what sequence of items you get, then going for certain sequences. Once we figured out about action counts and like getting 200 actions, which was the cap on the bonus points boost. It's just this amazing. I'm not even good at math, but it's just such a fun puzzle to figure out. Like, how do I get to 200 actions on this track? And you can get different skills. Okay, coin box will get you there for sure, because coins are flying everywhere, and then they introduce red coins, and it's a whole euphoric rush. The whole coin
Yeah.
box and the frenzy. I mean, the whole idea. We haven't even talked about this. The idea of a frenzy. It's like crack.
Can we talk about the boomerang frenzy for a second?
Boomboxing. I came up with the term. I don't toot my horn for very many things,
Okay.
but I actually created a term that is known around the world in Mario Kart now,
Okay.
which is boomboxing. So once you realize, and the debate goes on whether Nintendo intended this to be this way, but with a boombox frenzy,
Oh,
if
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
coin box in
yeah.
front of you, boom, you not only get the boomerang frenzy, you're hitting everything, but you can gather up to like 40 coins, 40 actions just like in a second.
Yeah.
And so then you're a quarter of the way to 200, and
Yeah.
but about boomerang, let's talk about it.
Literally euphoric.
It's
Boombox.
euphoric, but
Yeah.
it's the highest
Yeah.
high in the game, but it's the hardest thing to get because
Yeah.
then you're resetting lobbies trying to get coin boxers in your lobby, and
Mhm.
it can take hours just to get a lobby. So I'm talking people who have, like, all due respect, like disposable income, no job, like no girlfriend. I mean, okay, that's a little harsh, maybe, like, but yeah, or you just get lucky and get a lucky lobby, but
Your words, not
um,
mine. I'm not
no,
saying anything
I'm
about the
just kind
200
of,
players.
I'm
I
just trying to be
I
entertaining.
I only flame the AD and Wii players now.
Yeah,
They
but
they, they can handle it.
it's just a warning because you can exceed the action kind of coin box with boomerang because of boomboxing, um, but it is the hardest and takes the most time. So there's other skills, thankfully, in this game, like Giant Banana. Giant Banana Frenzy is incredible and has so many fans because it takes the least amount of time. If you get a Giant Banana Frenzy, and it's pretty easy to pull one in the right position, you're creating so much havoc on the track that you're out after that run. You just get a
Yeah.
coin frenzy at the end, try to get a Giant Banana coin done,
Bob
and
on Frenzy at the first set also feels incredibly broken from
it,
what I've
it,
noticed.
it can be good. It's not considered one of the four
Yeah.
plus skills, but it can be good depending on the track, and that's what's fun about it because each track has its own strats. This is a
Hmm.
great boombox track. This is a great giant banana track. This is a great coin box track,
Okay.
and so having the custom items brought in, uh, and then you're choosing what you want to level up. Some people level up the boomerangs because they want to go for that. Some people go for coin boxes a little easier. And then they got the whole me thing, which broke the game. It really broke the meta because
Oh,
of the
is that
base
just?
points.
Yeah, it's just like the XP, or not the XP, but
The base
I guess it
points.
kind of is like XP, but
Yeah, it's the base points
yeah,
that you start out with.
it gets up to
So,
like 1400 or something, doesn't it?
1400 is the base, which is a triple capped.
Yeah.
That's spending 16 extremely valuable tickets on a normal high end driver. It's a me at max, if you own every suit, is already there.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's kind of amazing because they kind of gave the upper stratosphere of like whales like their own like luxury class.
Yeah.
And if you want to dabble in it, you can. You don't have to because everything's relative. Like for you, rookie, if you like, I don't know, what do you like? Boomerang? Do you like Coinbox? Do you like Luigi? Do you like princesses? Like what's your thing? Like what do you like?
In
Because
every
whatever it is, you can build your game around it.
Yeah, I was gonna actually answer the question, not leave it as rhetorical. I
Yeah.
am in Smash and MK a fan of the heavy characters for sure. Bowser main in Smash, love me some K Rule DDD in this game.
Dude,
King Bomb, Petey Piranha, Funky, they're my guys.
well, that's what's beautiful about Coinbox because
Hmm.
so with hitboxes of carts, when you have a heavyweight driver, the cart scales up. And if you have an off-roader or we have this beautiful meta of like cart sizes. And it's all about which carts work best with the best skills, which gliders work with the best skills. That's less of a thing. But if you have that big cart and you have a heavyweight driver, so Meowser, Gold Chuck,
Meowser's so funny as
any
animation.
yeah, that
It's
was
so
a surprise to
ridiculous.
everyone. That
Yeah.
was a surprise to everyone. We all kind of wanted Fury Bowser at that because it was kind of tied into 3D World, and
Yeah.
Nintendo makes weird decisions. They do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, a heavyweight coin boxer is kind of the best situation you could have. So, yeah, man, you should look at your carts. You got some off-roaders leveled up?
I think
Do you even know what I'm talking about?
no.
You know the original
Yeah,
off-road.
the off-roaders from MK. I think mine's
Yeah.
level 3, I want to say, which is not bad for me.
And the beautiful
Yeah.
thing is, like, we have people in our community that have so thoroughly digested the meta and are crunching the numbers every single tour with every single buff, every combination of driver, cart, and glider together, no matter what you do, that we have like running top tens presented by different creators of here are the 10 hot carts that are getting the best buff streaks right now, and that factors in hitbox, that factors in track recency, track frequency, all this stuff. And you can just look at that meta that the community is presenting and be like, those are the charts. Like, if I want to follow that, I can pick whatever I want from those top charts. And I'm looking at my investments. Oh yeah, that matches with the top stuff. Bam, I'm going to do that. And you can bring in your own strats as well. Like, I have favorite drivers, like, that in carts that aren't part of the meta. But if I get them high enough, they're still going to be able to factor into the meta. And it's just, I love how customizable it is. It's just so cool.
For sure. I feel like I've learned a lot, honestly. I wasn't expecting this intricate of details about the mobile app Mario Kart game, but it is kind of fascinating in hindsight. And I think what's also just really, I guess, going back to the booster pass real quick, I think it's cool that this existed because in a sense it like made deluxe and tour intertwined in a sense.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it got to the point where like the communities couldn't really ignore each other anymore just because there's
I
so
love
much.
that.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, obviously this collaboration, I mean, I don't want to say for certain that it would happen because of like the ripple effect of the booster pass, but it's certainly possible. And
Yeah.
I wanted to say also just there were people talking in the chat about what we want for the next MK game, and I'm kind of curious like on what everybody's take is. You in the chat also. It's just like, what do we want from the next game? Like, do we want all the tour courses to come back? Because personally, like, for me, my philosophy on it, and this is nothing against just like the tour courses in general. I think if I had to craft like the roster of courses for the next console MK game, I'd say that all the retro tracks that returned in the booster pass from tour would be the ones that I would say we won't do these ones again. But the ones like Lakeside Park, etc., Yoshi Dry Ruins, those ones, I'd say this is fair game.
Save them for the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
Not necessarily save them, but, have them on the table still.
Okay.
Right? You still want, like, your Wario Coliseum's my favorite personal track in the series, by the way.
Yeah.
Toad's Factory.
Nice.
You want those potentially on the board also.
Yep.
And I would say also that I would treat all the Tour Nitros as not as like for I would treat them in a sense as like they haven't returned as a retro but have like been debuted as like a Nitro course now.
Yeah, definitely. That all
that's
makes
my
sense.
thought. I would
That
like
all
to
makes
see.
sense.
Go ahead.
I just don't know. I can't see them just doing another console Mario Kart with X amount of new courses, X amount of retro courses. Especially because the next console, whenever it is, maybe it's a year away at the soonest, but it's not going to look. I mean, Mario Kart 8 looks insanely good. There's not going to be like a whole new visual style. It's more going to be like.
You sure?
I mean, maybe I would love that. I mean,
Get
I
Mario
have my own
Strikers.
Can I hit you with my personal idea?
Yeah, go for it.
The only way they could top what they've done, and I'm talking about what they've done in 8 and what they've done in Tour, is it has to be, and they're not going to do this. It's too ambitious.
Is it Nintendo Kart?
No, I don't want Nintendo Kart. I am anti-Nintendo.
I am anti-Nintendo Kart as well.
Good. We're on the same page there.
Yes.
I'm a purist. I'm old school.
Yep.
That could be its own other kind of game if you want to do that. No, I I want a Mario Kart game that once again completely changes the game, and it's some kind of, I don't say open world, but completely story based, where all the tracks fit into a narrative. In the end, you have a grand array of tracks,
Yeah,
but you
I
are
get where you're going.
you're building your entire arsenal
Is it
piece by
is
piece,
it like one of
player.
those things you're at the center and then there's like branching paths and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
it'd be a
like
whole
challenges and
world.
all
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
and
I've
I don't.
seen people kind of
Yeah,
bring up that idea on occasion too. It's very
but even
interesting.
that, it's just like I am going to. I don't see how me personally, if this whole like scoring and frenzies thing, it's going to be hard for me to ever top that.
Yeah.
It's so there's so much replay. It's so addictive, and it does all go back to I think the play control is good. I mean, if the game didn't have a learning curve you could cross and master and feel like this feels good, like this is well designed, and a lot of players didn't get to that point, and so they bailed, and that's what always sucks. I remember when
Happened
Mario
with
Kart
me,
8,
like mentioned.
yeah,
I think just like that
fair
intro
enough.
period's hard. Like when you don't have like the tier 3 gliders at all, it's just like, why am I playing? Like this is just slower
I would give you
Mario
a
Kart.
challenge like if you have a track you love and you have a little bit of time one day and you have a driver you love on it and I would give you the test of like play that track for like an hour to 2 hours straight and just go over and over until you know it like the back of your. I mean, I know you know the track, so you know every track already, but
Yep.
you really know this version and keep looking at the action count every time. You finish up, oh, 142 actions. Let me go for 145, then try to go for 150. And you will, I think, cross into another level. And once you get there, it's really hard to ever. I would play this game forever. I would
Hmm.
play if they supported this game for the next 20 years. I would keep playing. I don't know. It's weird.
I I think the other part of that is just like every in it's a weird thing to consider here, but it's the every 2 weeks factor. There's something
Mhm.
new in a sense.
That you like
And
that or don't.
I'm not sure because
That you can't play every track whenever you want
yeah,
to.
yeah, that's the thing. That's like
Common
again,
criticism.
this isn't a shot at tour, but like
Yeah, it's a
I don't consider it fully mainline because it's just like I can't just play the Mushroom Cup if I want, right? Like I can't just I know this course is in the game. I feel like playing it right now. I want to start a versus
no,
race on this, etc. But at the
no.
same time, there are advantages to this system where it's like things feel fresh. You know, when you're going online, you're going to play these courses instead of, hopping on. It's like, oh yeah, maybe this will appear in the track selector and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It does keep it fresh, admittedly.
It's curated. It's like
Yeah.
that's what I love about it, man. It's like, oh wow, and it makes you miss certain courses. Whereas with Mario Kart 8, I'm straight up tired of some of those courses. I've been tired
Hmm.
of them for a long time. I mean, maybe if I hung out with you and your friends and really got good again at multiplayer,
It
like it'd be a different story.
it's
But
like you're saying developing a meta that keeps you engaged sometimes, and
yeah,
sometimes you won't do that for certain games, but you will for others just because it
yeah,
clicked with you, and we all have
yeah.
finite time, so we have to pick and choose and delegate how we do it and all that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
this is kind of like why I want to start this podcast series in a sense, just because I think there are a lot of different ways to enjoy this series. Some that even somebody who's really, I think, been one person to really try to, look out in many different ways. I go back and play even the retro ones and try to get better at time trialing those
Yeah,
on occasion too. But
yeah.
I think it's better when we can have these open conversations without just being like roaring at each other, like yelling like, oh yeah, this one's no good, etc., or like it won't be better than this one, because I think it's kind of borderline
Yeah,
toxic. And I do think
yeah.
the community at large would be better off together if we could in a sense
Oh
cross the
man.
aisle on occasion, right?
Absolutely, and that's why, honestly, like, not to get too like real and like sentimental or whatever, like, I really appreciate you reaching out because, like,
Yeah.
as a Mario Kart Tour creator, um, there's never been any. In fact, the main if you're a Mario Kart Tour player, like, we're sitting over here, like, we understand, we love this game, and the way the mainstream video game, you know, social media or YouTube or whatever covers this game has always been extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
Like they're not giving it a fair shake. they immediately wrote it off. They'll of course if we get a new track, they'll cover that. They'll and they'll analyze the track and be like,
I imagine
guys,
it's not to cut you off, but like I imagine it's kind of
no,
frustrating. Also, it's like whenever there's like been a new course last year, it was like booster pass or something like that, and you're just like over here like,
yeah,
man, I want to see what the trick variants are like and all that. Like I want to learn
exactly,
stuff. Who's going to be good
exactly.
here? So
Yeah, it's like you could have been playing Ninja Hideaway the last 2 years, you guys. Like,
yeah,
but like I think like to your point, like the booster course pass, bring a little more people in. Thankfully, they got rid of the gotcha, which is kind of a helpful thing now for the reputation of the game. But just reaching out, and I do appreciate it because us tour players and creators have kind of had to be in this corner where we're defending the game for like 4 years now.
yeah, I
It's
get
been a
it
little
because
exhausting,
I
to
literally
be
get it
honest.
because admittedly, and I grew up playing Mario Kart Wii. I love Mario Kart Wii. That fan base is very attacking at times.
Yeah,
Like everything
yeah,
that comes
pretty
out
vicious.
after it, like I remember MK7 came out. I was like, well, it's not on a console, right? Like it's not gonna be better, right? It's like, and then when 8 came out on the Wii U, like the Wi-Fi service was dying and stuff like that, so that created even more controversy and all of that. So like, there's always been
Yeah,
like, this competitiveness between comparing games. And it's like it's not a good competitiveness where you can actually solve it like in a competition. It's just like a, you know, we say this, you say that kind of thing. That really never gets anywhere. So I
yeah,
understand like the perspective of, feeling defensive and all that kind of stuff, because I try to look at things like everybody has their preferences and every game in this series has, something special about it. Even
definitely.
even my least favorite, I would say, of like the modern era was 8 on the Wii U. But
Mhm.
the driving mechanics in that game were really interesting. They were
Yeah,
surprisingly deep for a modern entry, more so than all the other ones since like MKDS. And
yeah,
I don't think that just because, the game had some questionable design decisions that we should just say it has no value. I think a
yeah,
lot of people sleep on Mario Kart 7 for, my biggest kind of, I guess, criticism of it is just what feels like a little bit of a lack of ambition. But if you watch, some of the best players in the world play that game, it has unique strategies that are exclusive to that game that a lot of people don't even realize exist. So
yeah.
I do like that, you brought up just, you know, not just like the kind of RPG elements of Tour, but just like the in-game strategies as well. Just
Yeah.
to get your actions up and all of that, and
Oh
how
yeah,
you
the
customize
driving.
your
I mean, you
builds.
first of all, you do have to get first. This whole like
Yeah.
weird sound bite that you don't even have to get first in the game. Of course, you have to get first. You get
Well,
position points for getting first. You have to. No one
may,
ever will
maybe
ever
at
take a
maybe
run.
at tier 5, you can get
Okay,
second
yeah, your
place and still
first
win.
week,
Yeah.
your first week, you don't have to, but after that,
And
no.
that's the thing. That's the
Uh,
thing. It's just like so much discourse on these subjects are, it's just unintelligent, and
yeah,
that people expose themselves like when they say it with misinformed takes, which has a
yeah,
negative impact on things. Like I remember when Deluxe came out, I was like, oh, haha, they just want to let you get double coins now, and you'll just get redded out. And it's like that's not a thing that happens. If you've ever
yeah.
seen it happen, it's a lag
Mm-hmm.
and item
Hmm.
wheel affecting it, but like that's not like common information to
Yeah,
people that are easily fooled. So I definitely get
yeah.
the frustration in that regard.
Or just like, oh, you just pay to win. It's not as simple as pay to win. First of
Yeah,
all, those people are going to support this game existing, and I'm really glad they have. Some people have money. Let them support the game for God's sake. Let them play each other. And I chose to like I called it like swimming with the whales, where I'm like I'm going to try to stay in the highest tier as possible, even though I'm not like a whale and buying more rubies and buying tickets. And it's been a fun challenge for me because honestly, the game has not challenged players as much as we hoped it would. There is a lot they could have done that they did not do. Um, there's been a lot of disappointment along the way. But at the same time, yeah, if you those whales can all play against each other at the top tier. You can be free to play. There's a great YouTuber Kevin Garrett who covers only free to play strats, and we've had players who've got top 100 globally just from free to play. It just takes longer. It's a long game, but that's this game. It's like a chess game of Mario Kart. Um, but yeah,
I love this.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
love this conversation. Yeah,
it's been good, man. I mean, we should do this anytime because I do appreciate like the kind of like level-headed perspective on it and giving it a chance. I mean, like you said, every game you kind of got to you got to master it. You got to cross the learning curve, see what it's really about, and there's a lot to it.
for sure. So I don't want to do this all night. Obviously, I
Yeah,
would do it all night, but
I would too. But
I
yeah,
want people to watch like everything
yes,
if possible, and this is
yes,
already a ton. But
yes.
I guess kind of before we wrap up, I want to reach out to the chatters, people that are still
Yeah.
in here. I said this earlier, but drop your favorite soundtracks from the booster pass. I'm curious what you guys think in that regard. Wave 1s to 5 right now. Sammy has
Favorite
done a
soundtrack.
bunch of videos on every
Yeah.
wave, going into the minor details, little things that, clever things that the band does on occasion. So I'm curious on hearing what your opinions are, and I want to see some critique or thoughts on like what your personal favorites are.
Like you
Also,
want me to react
well, not
their
necessarily
some of their
react,
picks?
but let's get some in the chat, and then maybe
Yeah,
talk about it a little bit some of your personal
absolutely. And those
favorites.
videos have, I mean, anytime I do a Mario Kart 8 video blows up, you guys, the fan base is so much bigger. And I get that. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone who's come over and watched for that reason. I happened upon the soundtrack thing just because I love music and analyzing music and listening to it. And that's been a blessing to have all those subs and views from the Mario Kart 8 players.
Hmm.
I always try to encourage people, hey, stick around, give the game a try, you know.
Yeah,
So we got some in the chat, and by the way, thanks to the Kart Lifers in the chat who came out tonight, Firestorm, Frenzy Fangirl, and others.
it was great to see
Um,
some new faces in here. That's kind of
yeah,
another exciting thing for me personally, selfishly. It's just like, oh look, all these new faces I haven't seen that also just play MK. It's cool to see.
so I'm
So
seeing a lot of like references to the newer tracks because it's fresh. You know, these are fresh themes,
yeah,
and it's amazing to have fresh new music for Mario Kart 2. You know, Merry Mountain. It's got like a John Williams like Home Alone kind of like Jurassic Park vibe, Athens, like all the city tracks. I see a couple of mentions of Athens, the way they incorporate like the folk instruments of each country. You know, Sydney Sprint's just like just like a dance club banger, you know, and like you,
by the way,
yeah.
I did catch that you said that LA Laps, the original, was your favorite.
Oh, yeah,
I just want to
absolutely,
say,
yeah.
I'm the one that trademarked LA Slaps. Okay,
Oh, that's good. I
it's
hadn't heard
entirely me.
that.
Somebody dropped in the chat. It was my quote originally.
I hadn't
So
heard that. Yeah, that is my number one.
yeah,
That is my
you
number
may
one.
use it. You have permission.
LA slaps. I love it.
Yeah.
Sunset Wilds. Yeah, I got a good, you know, the music gets blown up when the tracks get blown up, and that's cool. Vancouver, obviously, big fan favorite. Anything electronic with the like the kick, you know, it's like a club beat or whatever. Like everyone loves that stuff.
Hmm.
Singapore, Vancouver, Rainbow Row, all those are always, you know, all-time favorites, but from everyone pretty much. Paris, tour version of LA Apps is better. Yeah, it is better, and it's kind of it feels vindicating to see everyone kind of agree because in the
It had
analysis,
something
I was like,
about it. It just had something about it. I can't explain it.
well, it doesn't always translate well to a live band just
Yeah.
recreating what was basically built in MIDI with like synths and programming. You know, it basically sounds like a live band on the beach playing a version of LA Laps
Yeah.
or LA Slaps.
Thank you.
um,
Do you have a
so yeah,
personal
those.
favorite?
Um,
Out of the booster pass. I know you said that LA
but like
Labs
for
for
the remakes,
yeah, for the remakes.
oh God, man, you got me on the spot. You know, because I don't do a lot. It's weird. I love ranking stuff. Like I'm a big movie fan, and so I'm
Okay.
always like making my top 10 lists and like ranking them. But with Mario Kart, I have not sat down and like ranked things in a long time or like made tier lists.
Hmm.
So like, gosh, I feel a little bit on the spot with that. I will say that the probably peak reaction, maybe it's recency bias, but was like the underwater Koopa Cape.
Oh yeah, I loved that
Like,
one.
and
I was like,
art,
what?
art, yeah, it was so trippy, but also it just a lot of it is reminding you, wow, what an incredible composition. Like the
Yeah.
composers for the whole series of Mario Kart have just made the most incredible work. video game music is amazing. It's some of the best music being made always, and it's Japanese. I love Japanese music. It's just, yeah. But Ninja Hideaway was great. Sometimes there's a little too much electric guitar in the remix for me. I don't know why Nintendo's so obsessed with like heavy metal. I mean, no offense. Like again, I'm like gonna offend someone, but it is a little dated. Some of the sounds of like the hard rock heavy metal to me. I don't know. No?
I got a few personal favorites I want to share.
Okay, let's hear it.
My favorite one from tour was Vancouver. I know that's a really normie opinion, but it was so good. So good. I was with Brad on that one.
So good.
I like the remix, but I also don't like it. It's hard to explain. I love the remix. I love that it kind of has like more, more bite almost. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, but more punch. And I hope you saw, by the way, in my video, I'm very proud of the seamless segue between Vancouver and I intercut Jamiroquai, which was to me one of the kind of the reference points, which I try to be like, what were they like? What were the inspirations for this? So you're gonna have to watch that clip.
I'll have to look back at it again.
Yeah.
But there's also a part of me that's just like, the original just felt like cerebral and all of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of that was lost in a sense also. So like it's like I love it, but like I also like kind of like the original too. I gotta give a shout out to Moonview Highway also, just because they went crazy with the city part. But
oh yeah, that was nuts.
Other two come from courses that I think were largely forgotten that I loved for a very long time. One, which is Shroom Ridge. I don't think you had a huge reaction to this one.
By far one of my least favorites.
Yeah. So
least favorites.
Yeah, that one hurts. But keep in mind, my first MK game was MKDS.
I was gonna say it's always the DS kids.
I know. And I feel like Shroom Ridge is just like the perfect encapsulation of everything that MKDS like stood for, and I can't explain why.
So interesting. Because that makes me appreciate it more.
Yeah, because like the uncompressed whistles, for instance, in that song, it just hit differently. It was like the perfect nostalgia rush, where it's like better than you remember, but like it makes you nostalgic at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain that, but like,
no, I
just loved it. It was like, Shroom Ridge was very low key in MKDS. It came after Waluigi Pinball and like the cup order. Like, how do you follow that up? Yeah. Other courses like Airship Fortress, Tick-Tock Clock, etc. It was just a traffic track, right?
Yeah.
Nice one. It's pretty cool, but it's not really like a standout and all that. It's kind
not
of stuff.
Showy.
Yeah, but like in a sense, like without like all the pizzazz, like when I saw like remade, like in a course. I know a lot of people don't like Wave 1 too much, but like to me, as somebody who waited for like almost 10 years, it felt like, for new MK content on a console.
Yeah.
Just like seeing this like come back, it just like felt like a representation of like the series moving forward again to me. So that's again, cool. When I saw this course come in, it was also my guilty pleasure that I TT'd back when I was a kid. It was like one of the first courses I really grinded. I don't know why, I was just good at it. But
that's awesome.
It came back and I was just like, it's not Waluigi Pinball, it's not Airship Fortress, not even really Tick-Tock Clock, but to me it was MKDS, and that was my first game. So
that's cool.
Really, really appreciated that one. The next one that I think I don't think anybody's gonna agree with me on this one. Riverside Park. I couldn't believe it, dude, when it came back. It's just like,
dude, that remake was freaking on fire.
I know you appreciate it. I don't think anybody else has talked about it, but I was laughing watching your video just because you were just like, guys, chill out, man. It's Riverside Park. What are we doing here?
Cooking so hard, like
I know, dude.
The brass, like kind of a little bit behind the beat. That is so hip, and then like there's this like one part on the downbeat where the drummer hits like a China cymbal. You know what a China is, right? Like a trash.
Literally once in the entire song. It's just
so effective.
I know. And
you would never pair that with like
it goes right into like the drop also.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved it. Again, I've gotten a lot of people that have like accused me of being like an MKSC homer, but like it was literally like my fourth MK game. I just liked Riverside Park for some reason growing up.
No, I mean they had
Loved
cool
it.
track ideas. I always
Yeah.
loved Luigi's Circuit. Just I
Yeah.
love Rain, you know. So like,
Hey,
see,
that was an
getting the
MKDS, so that was a very nostalgic one for me also.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
remake when I heard that was Data Mine for Tour, I was freaking out for months. Even though it's such like it's a simple track. Obviously, it's a
Yeah.
flat track, but just to see the setting, it didn't quite live up to my expectations of what
It
it
was kind of
what
the
it
same
was
for
going to
me
be about.
also. It
And it
felt
has to
very
do with those
slippery also.
expansive backgrounds. Well, it is slippery.
Yeah.
First of all, in Tour.
I don't mind courses being slippery. Matter of fact, Waluigi Stadium is like one of my favorites in the AD now, and they made it even more slippery. But like, I don't know what it was. Like some of those turns just felt like very awkward in Tour, in my opinion. It may be a
Yeah,
skill issue
yeah.
thing, but
Well,
I
I
I
mean,
liked the MKDS version the most.
anything's a skill issue until until
Yeah.
you master it. But no, then you have like the scaling of tracks, and that's a whole problem that we've kind of got through with it just fine. But it is weird that tracks get kind of scaled slightly different. I mean, when you play tracks in Tour, they're not as expensive feeling as they were back in their original games. They're kind of slightly scaled down, like 2-3% or something, just
Yeah.
where it feels a little bit cuter, a little tighter.
I can definitely
So
feel the
you're
effect.
always having to adjust. People get really hung up on the layouts of tracks changing, but it's always going to be slightly different on each console. It's never going to be a one-to-one perfect, the same line.
Hmm.
But yeah,
By the way,
we're getting stuck.
I don't want to cut off. By the way,
Yeah, man.
but
No, we
and
should wrap it up.
no, this isn't even like ended yet. I just want to like kind of shout out some people that followed and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's some
Great.
cart livers, so wanted to bring it up. But
Yep.
Dead Memes or Dead Meme 7 just a second ago for the follow. Frenzy Fangirl, which definitely sounds like an MK Tour type of tag.
Yep. One of
Thank you
my
for the
fellow
follow.
content creators.
The follow and gifted sub. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. Michael IDK live earlier today, and Captain Evan and Kian, or I had a Kian friend, I think, or Kian, I don't know. But
Yeah, Kian.
thank you everybody
Yeah,
for
some of the
follows.
cart livers. And Frenzy Fangirl and Frenzy Fanboy, their channel's called Frenzy Fans. And just a little plug.
That's really cute.
They're one of the they're a couple, which is
Wow.
they're a couple YouTuber.
Okay,
Um,
gonna have to check
and the
that
cool
out.
thing, one of the many like resources for like kind of crunching the numbers in the game, Frenzy Fanboy made a calculator where you can just put in your loadouts, put in what you think your action count's going to get, and just anticipate your score. So you're literally looking at your ranked cup opponents. They're right here, and you're looking at their scores, and you can literally decide, is it worth going for? So to your original question, when do I know when to go for it? Just
Yeah,
I know it's hard to leap into like using like spreadsheets and calculators.
it's like the
but-
damage calcs in Pokemon and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and like the frame data in Smash, and like
And it's stuff that like the more you play,
percentages.
you do have an inner sense of it, kind
Well,
of
once
already.
you get to the point where like you need every last advantage to start winning in these ranked cups, I definitely see like why this would become like a strategy. It's just like,
Yeah.
can I compete with these people? Let's run the
It's more like,
calcs.
Yeah. Knowing what's going to happen, knowing what I'm actually capable of doing, and also if I take something to level 6, because tickets are precious, your resources are precious.
Yeah.
How many more points will I actually get if I make that investment? So we have all these tools to do that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Also, again, Firestorm for the follow. Also, Cart Lifer, as mentioned
curious.
earlier.
Yeah, Firestorm. I'd be curious to know if there's anyone in your chat just before we go. Like, do you play the game, or are you more interested in playing the game after hearing this? I'm just kind of curious. So, if anyone wants to chime in before we go.
And while we wait on the chatters, seems that Hulk really wants to bring up the Boo Lake theme as well. I remember you talking about the percussion, even in like the original version as well. That was
Yeah.
I don't know, the beginning of Boo Lake and Booster Course Pass is like almost tingly on the ear. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really weird one. They kind of got weird with it. I mean, gosh, things have been moving so fast. It's just been an insane year or so for Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Like I've hardly
Unprecedented one, I would say.
I don't know why they released so many freaking tracks in Tour. I'm still
Yeah.
If it's not a Booster Course Pass 2, I don't even know why they did it. I mean, unless it's like, okay, we can go for 3 or 4 more years. Someone told me that we could do 3 more years where every ranked cup track is a unique track with just what we have now for 3 years. So
That's
you would
including
never
like
be a rank.
so that's like
Yes.
including like the R and R/T,
Yes.
etc.
Yes. Yes.
I think there's over 100 unique ones now by this point also. So
There's over 550 individual tracks in Mario
oh my
Kart Tour.
goodness, that is nuts.
and and I think it's I mean the T tracks are so fun, the reverse tracks.
The
You
T
know, you can
tracks are excuse me. The
yeah,
T tracks are like so nice for players trying to get
they're
back
easier.
into it, right? They're
Yeah,
easier
it's
to
that little bit.
non-stop combo.
Yeah. They help you out with the
Definitely,
combos.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't want T tracks anywhere near deluxe per se. I feel like
Yeah.
that's too much, like with the tricking and
Yeah.
all that. But like
Yeah.
for tour,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
BC2T was like the one that's like, oh my god, I like this game because it was
Yeah.
easy, and my points went up a
Yeah.
bunch, and I got 20,000. That was like a big deal back then.
No, it
So,
is. Dude, the trick Bowser castles are
oh my gosh.
really, really fun.
It was specifically BC2 because also the MKBS
Yeah.
nostalgia also, and that was my favorite GBA BC. Even though
That's
4 is
cool.
like kind of like insane now. Why did
That's
they
cool.
why did they bring back BC4 if they were not going to do the booster pass?
Exactly.
Like
And
seriously.
why did they change it was so weird because they never changed the backgrounds for any of the others
I
because they
know.
all are supposed to and then all of a sudden they did this whole like the ceiling has exploded like
Yeah,
and then
I
like
liked
what
that. Why
it was amazing.
why is it just here if it's only going to be in tour, right?
Yeah, and then they did the other BC glow off.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Hulk bringing up Excite Bike Arena T as like a possibility because the track
Ha
literally
ha ha.
just is a T track.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just load it up. It's just like Baby Park with nothing. It'd be kind of funny.
Is that track frowned upon by
Okay,
the
okay.
I'd imagine it is.
It is the most commonly picked course in the Mario Kart 8 Lounge.
Really?
Japan. So the best player in the game, Kusan,
Yeah.
loves it because it's a course where you can quote. I don't know if this is his exact reasoning, but I've heard it's a track that's good for front running, but also like very fair to people who are sandbagging and all that.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
he likes it a lot, to the dismay of a lot of people like me, and all the people that watch his content. He goes crazy on YouTube if you just look up Kusan.
Okay, I'd love to watch that.
Yeah, Kusan, 2 A's, Kusaan. But insane player, loves Excite Bike Arena, and it feels like all the people that watch his content just spam pick Excite Bike Arena and Lounge. So like you can't even escape it, and I hate it. And
Funny.
that's like one of the things going on with like the AD community right now. Is like we're going to have 96 courses in the game, and people like want to pick 6 of them. It feels like, which I think is
Yeah.
problematic. So we're trying to like have conversations and all that kind of stuff about like, usage and like different types of formats. Like, can we
Yeah.
run stuff where like the top X is like removed from certain rotations on occasion, stuff like that. We did a track bands tournament recently for one of the 6v6 team events recently called Paradigm. So that's interesting. Kind of creates
Yeah.
more strategy and like what you're going to ban from your opponents, what you're going to protect, stuff like that.
I mean, see, like finding you, I don't know why I stumbled on your channel or how, but for some reason I didn't know the Mario Kart 8 scene was quite as alive as it is until I maybe stumbled on your videos and some others, and I could spend a whole other couple of hours just asking you questions about that
Yeah.
because again, like I got
Hey,
tired of Mario Kart 8.
bring
It
me on
just,
Cart Life. We can
yeah.
do it the other way also.
No, I could do it the other way around for
Mhm.
sure. Because I mean, I just got so tired of maybe it's because I don't really do just online very much with like
I would say that's probably the thing because I would say that
yeah.
Tour
I'm more
excels in the single player department, and that's like kind of your jam in a sense.
I love playing with friends, don't get me wrong. I mean, I
Yeah.
grew up playing with friends. But
But
it's just kind of
Tour's like it finds a way to like make it feel like a game that you can grind without having to like necessarily queue up in these lobbies. Like it's kind of like if like Mario Party had a good single player mode, stuff like that. It's like you don't think
yeah,
about that, but that's what Tour is for Mario Kart.
yeah. And for some reason I love playing Mario Kart by myself.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I just do. It's
Growing
fun.
up, I could only time trial, but like I
Yeah.
liked time trialing because when I was an arrogant teenager who didn't have online play, the only worthy opponent was myself. So it's like,
Yeah.
can I beat this? And I think, doing that pushes you to be your best self in a lot of areas, no matter where you do it. So
Yeah.
I definitely see that factor in Tour quite a bit. I feel like I had one other comment I wanted to bring up, but it's just eluding me. It's killing
Oh,
me, man.
we there's so much
Yeah.
we haven't even talked about. There's so much we have. What? Maybe we can do volume 2 of this once you've done some other interviews.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Um,
think we had a pretty interesting chat today. I know there's still a decent amount of people here, so it was
yeah.
definitely cool to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive, if you will, on
Yeah, very quick, fast
yeah,
dive down. And yeah, I just encourage anyone that is, open to it to give it a whirl. And man, it might be intimidating to like start watching like Cart Life or whatever and like what is he talking about? But I really do try to speak to strats that kind of apply to everybody, who watches. And of course we got Discord and everything like everybody else. Great community. The Mario Kart Tour community, I will say, I mean, every community has got some weirdos in it.
yeah,
But
not wrong.
really, really, really amazingly kind, supportive. I mean, when I thought about starting a YouTube channel, I was a little scared of like the YouTube comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I just know how toxic it can be.
I get
And
I get a few on occasion, not a ton really. I feel like I'm pretty non-controversial at least, in
yeah,
making enemies and all that kind of stuff. But there's a few people that will just always misunderstand like what you're trying to say and all of that.
yeah,
So it happens sometimes, but
yeah. Just
you're
like
getting the support, right? That's what matters.
yeah, it just didn't happen as much as I thought, and I was like, man, the people who play this game just seem to be generally cool.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, for a while I was like, oh man, once the 8 Deluxe, if the 8 Deluxe player found my channel, they would often be the ones being like, this game is trash. Like you don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. But we're getting close. We're bridging that gap, and we're all coming together. It's like it's really interesting. The most informed position you can take as a Mario Kart fan is to play as many games as you can, have a bigger perspective on what is Nintendo doing with this franchise and how is it evolving and where's it going from here. And really, you should get into all of the games. You know,
At least for like just to figure
not
out
at
what the
all
buzz is
times.
about for sure.
Yes,
Let's you're
yes,
allowed to
yeah.
have favorites, everybody, but
No, I mean, I'm not playing any of the
yeah.
other games right now. I'm just
Hmm.
saying, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this,
For sure.
and for you guys too. So,
Yeah, it's quite exciting.
yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna run. I gotta,
Yep.
I gotta call my lady and hit the sack. But I appreciate everyone listening tonight, and appreciate you, man.
Yeah. It was good to finally sit down and talk. I didn't realize that I think this is the first time we actually like discussed face to face. I know we've
Yeah.
commented a few times. I've obviously watched your videos. I think I don't know if you knew what I looked like before this. I know
I've
I've
seen,
done
yeah, I've
facecam
seen
on
your
occasion.
videos that where you
Yeah.
sometimes have your cam.
I don't do it a lot anymore, but when I
Yeah,
stream, typically,
yeah,
yeah.
when you
But
stream.
yeah, it's cool to finally speak face to face and all that. I'm used to seeing you and thinking like, oh, he's talking to me because it's a video. I need to listen and all that. So like the back and forth took me a second, but
Yeah,
it was
that's
fun.
funny.
It was good to sit down and chat and hope to see more of this in the future and all that. So
Yeah, man. Let's definitely keep that bridge going between the fan bases and whatnot as we go
yeah,
forward.
again, we won a MK community, the larger one that we're hoping for, that everybody can just get along and all of that. So
Mhm.
get
Absolutely.
there. Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you for joining me. Appreciate the
absolutely,
time, of
bro.
course.
Thanks to your viewers. What do you call your viewers?
I don't know, to be honest.
Okay. Well,
I don't know, man. Like I'm trying to not add Rook as like a prefix to everything. This used
yeah,
to be
yeah.
called the Rookcast, but I don't know if we're gonna do that anymore.
Okay,
So
we'll see.
we'll see.
We'll keep the
But yeah,
series going. It's good. It's good. I like your
hmm
content's brilliant, man. As you're a sharp guy, you have a good way of explaining your concepts and your ideas, and you've got me back up to speed with what's going on with MK8. So I appreciate it, dude.
cool. Appreciate your time. Thanks, and have a good night. And can't wait to see what's next for Cart Life.
Thanks, man. Talk soon.
Yep. See you soon. All right, y'all. Let's go back to, I guess, main. Let's see here. Wasn't ready for the exit yet. One sec. All right, we're back. Everybody, thanks for tuning in today. We'll be uploading this on YouTube. If you missed some parts, probably gonna try to do some timestamps and all that. But we'll look for somebody to raid real quick and call it a night. I think that conversation was long enough that I definitely don't feel the need to continue the stream. But again, thanks to everybody for hopping in. Thank you for the Kart lifers who hopped in for the first time. It was nice to see some of the messages and all of that. And yeah. Unfortunate, Hulk. I'll remember that. But yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I don't know if I'll be doing tour stuff soon, but I want to, be able to like stream it on occasion, like when warming up for some matches and all that. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we can raid Logan. So let's do that now. Mario Kart Wii player, one of the best in the world. We'll do that. Oh, by the way, before you all leave, if you want to join my personal Discord, there's a link right here. I just do YouTube and stream announcements there. We talk about, future of the series a decent amount, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to join that, feel free. But anyway, you all have a good rest of your night, and we will talk soon. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.